All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today we're heading to Rio de Janeiro,
Rio.
often called Ciudad Maravillosa,
Which is?
the marvelous city.
Ah, okay.
Has some great excerpts from FlightNHotels.com and a guide to Rio's top attractions. So
Yeah.
let's unpack what makes it so captivating.
It's more than just beaches and Carnival.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are a big draw, of course.
Of course.
But I think what's so intriguing about Rio is that blend of nature and urban life.
Right.
Iconic beaches, sure.
Yeah.
But also a rainforest.
Really?
Right in the city.
A rainforest.
Yeah.
In this city? Okay, you've got my attention.
Right.
I mean, I knew about Christ the Redeemer,
Oh, yeah?
that statue on Corcovado Mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and Sugarloaf Mountain with the cable car.
The views are incredible.
Yeah, but a rainforest, that's something
It's
else.
called Tijuca National Park.
Wow.
One of the largest urban forests in the world.
So it's not just like a few trees here and there.
No, we're talking waterfall,
Okay.
like Cachoeira das Almas, and incredible viewpoints like Vista Chinesa.
All within the city.
Yeah, all within city limits.
So you could hike through a rainforest in the morning?
Yeah.
And then be on Copacabana Beach in the afternoon.
Absolutely. It's totally possible.
Wow.
Speaking of Copacabana and Ipanema beaches,
Yeah.
they're more than just beautiful beaches, they're cultural hubs.
Okay.
Places where Cariocas, Rio's residents,
Okay.
go to see and be seen.
Interesting.
They're practically stages for life in Rio.
That makes sense. And I think that's what I'm picking up from these sources.
Yeah.
It's not just the sights, but the energy surrounding them.
Exactly.
Like the legendary sunset views from Sugarloaf Mountain.
Ah, yeah.
What is it about that sunset that's so special?
It's more than just the colors in the sky, right?
Yeah.
Sugarloaf offers this vantage point where you see the entire city.
Wow.
Beaches, Guanabara Bay,
Okay.
even Christ the Redeemer silhouetted against the setting sun. It's Rio in its full glory, a
Yeah.
truly panoramic experience.
I can see why people rave about it.
Yeah.
It's more than just a pretty sunset.
Mm.
It represents everything Rio is.
Exactly.
And does that same energy carry through to other iconic spots?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Take Maratona Stadium.
Okay. The stadium.
For football fans,
Yeah.
this isn't just a stadium.
Oh, no.
It's hallowed ground.
Hmm.
Historic matches, legendary players.
Right.
It's like a temple to Brazilian football passion.
It must be electric to be there during a big game.
Oh, absolutely.
Can you even describe the atmosphere?
Our sources describe it as pure energy.
Wow.
Tens of thousands of fans.
Yeah.
Singing, chanting, living every moment of the match.
Wow, that's powerful.
You can feel the history and passion.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit.
Sure.
What about something a bit more bohemian?
Okay.
I'm thinking of Santa Teresa.
Ah, Santa Teresa.
With those cobblestone streets and
Yeah.
the colonial architecture. What's the story there?
Santa Teresa is like stepping back in time.
Okay.
Narrow streets, charming cafes, a vibrant art scene.
Interesting.
You have to see the Celerone Steps.
The one?
Celerone Steps, a mosaic staircase
Oh, wow.
created by Jorge Celerón.
And what's the story behind that? I've seen photos. They look incredible.
Celerón, he started covering the steps with tiles as
Uh-huh.
a tribute to Rio and its people.
Hmm.
He spent over 2 decades adding tiles,
Wow.
many donated by visitors from all over the world.
Really?
Yeah, creating this ever-evolving piece of art.
That's amazing.
It really captures the spirit of Rio's multiculturalism.
I love that it's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've explored some daytime highlights,
Uh-huh.
but Rio is known for its nightlife.
Right, absolutely.
What's the scene like after dark?
Well, Lapa is the heart of Rio's nightlife.
Namba. Okay.
This neighborhood comes alive after sunset,
Okay.
with its samba clubs and bars spilling out onto the streets.
Wow.
The Lapa Arches are a landmark.
The Arches.
Yeah, an old aqueduct transformed into a bridge.
Oh, interesting.
And music just spills from every doorway.
I bet that's quite a contrast from the rainforest.
It is.
Or even the historical feel of Santa Teresa.
Right.
What's the energy like in Lampa?
Our sources use words like pulsating
Okay.
and contagious.
Hmm.
It's a mix of locals and tourists drawn to the rhythms of samba,
Right.
the lively atmosphere, that karaoke zest for life.
That really shines through after dark.
Yeah.
And speaking of vibrant experiences,
Yes.
we can't forget about Rio's Botanical Garden.
The Jardim Botanico.
Right. Jardin Botanico.
It's more than just a park.
Oh.
It's a historical landmark
Okay.
founded in 1808.
Oh, a long time ago.
It boasts over 6,500 species of plants.
Really?
Yeah, the Avenue of Royal Palms is a must-see.
Oh, I bet.
And they also have a stunning orchidarium.
So it's like a haven of peace within this bustling city.
Exactly.
I can imagine strolling through those gardens, surrounded by lush greenery, forgetting you're in the heart of a metropolis.
And yet, that's Rio, right? Those unexpected juxtapositions.
Exactly. The blend of modern and historical,
Yes.
natural and urban, that gives Rio its energy.
It does.
And of course, we can't talk about Rio without mentioning its legendary festivals.
Oh, the festivals.
Carnival, something I've always wanted to experience.
It's truly something else.
It makes it so special. Every photo and video just captures pure joy and exhilaration.
Carnival is more than just a party.
Okay.
It's a celebration of life, of Brazilian culture.
Right.
And it's deeply rooted in tradition.
Hmm.
The samba schools with those elaborate costumes and infectious music, they compete for bragging rights.
Okay.
And the entire city becomes a giant pulsating dance floor.
I can only imagine the energy.
It's something to see.
And then there's New Year's Eve on Copacabana Beach. Another event that draws people from all over the world.
Incredible spectacle.
Yeah.
Revelers dressed in white to honor the sea goddess Imanja.
Oh.
The fireworks display is legendary.
I bet.
The atmosphere is one of hope and renewal as the new year begins.
That's beautiful.
A blend of tradition and celebration.
I'm starting to feel like I need to book a flight to Rio right now.
Do it.
But before I do,
Yeah.
let's talk about some practical travel tips from our sources.
All right, good idea.
What are some essentials?
Well, the ideal time to visit
Okay.
for warm weather and Carnival is between December and March.
Summer in the Southern Hemisphere.
Right.
And while Rio is known for its welcoming atmosphere,
Uh-huh.
it's always wise to be mindful of safety.
Always.
That's good advice for any traveler, really.
It is.
But are there specific concerns for Rio that we should be aware of?
Our sources recommend sticking to well-lit areas,
Okay.
especially at night, and tourist-heavy areas.
Right.
And be discreet with valuables.
Good advice.
Using registered taxis or ride-sharing services is also advisable.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
What about the language barrier?
Oh,
I know a little bit of Spanish, but no Portuguese.
well, the official language is Portuguese.
Yeah.
English is common in tourist areas.
Okay.
You can usually find someone who speaks English at hotels and restaurants.
Right.
But learning a few basic phrases will enhance your experience.
I'll have to brush up on my Portuguese greetings.
Your idea.
Now let's talk FlightNHotels.com.
Yeah.
They seem like a great resource for planning this trip.
They are.
Can you tell us more about what they offer?
FlightNHotels.com is a travel booking platform
Okay.
that makes planning your trip super convenient.
So it's like a one-stop shop.
Exactly. You can compare flights, find the best deals,
Nice.
book accommodations to suit your budget,
Yeah.
and even find bundled packages
Oh, nice.
for added savings.
Love that.
And their user-friendly interface makes the whole process a breeze.
Really?
Whether you're a seasoned traveler or planning your first big adventure,
Okay, great.
they also have a best price guarantee.
So you know you're getting a good deal. That's reassuring when planning a trip like this.
Especially to a destination like Rio where there are so many options.
Right. So many things to consider.
Yeah.
But what if something goes wrong? What about customer support?
They have a dedicated customer support team available 24/7 to help with any issues.
That's good to know.
From booking changes to general travel inquiries,
Right.
they're there to ensure a smooth and enjoyable experience.
Sounds like FlightNHotels.com can take some stress out of planning a trip to Rio.
Definitely.
It's reassuring to have a reliable platform.
For sure.
But before we get lost in the logistics,
Right.
I want to circle back to what makes Rio so captivating.
Okay.
We've covered the landmarks, the beaches, the nightlife, but there's this underlying energy, this spirit that seems to permeate everything.
It's that karaoke spirit.
Right. The karaoke spirit.
It's a blend of warmth,
Okay.
vibrancy, a love of life,
Yeah.
and a deep connection to their city and its culture.
I see.
You feel it in the music, the food, the way people interact.
And it's contagious.
It is. It's what makes Rio so unique.
It sounds like Rio is more than just a destination.
Yeah,
It's an experience.
precisely.
And one that stays with you.
It does, long after you leave.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
Explored the sights, the culture, some practical travel tips,
Uh-huh.
but there's still so much more to uncover.
There is.
What can our listeners look forward to in the second part of our deep dive?
In the next part, we'll delve deeper into Rio's history and cultural tapestry.
Okay.
We'll explore the influences that shaped the city,
All right.
from its indigenous roots to its colonial past and its African heritage.
Sounds fascinating.
It is.
I can't wait to learn more about what makes up Rio's identity.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a short break.
Okay.
When we return, we'll continue our deep dive into the heart and soul of Rio de Janeiro.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. Welcome back to our deep dive into Rio de Janeiro. We explored some iconic landmarks and that vibrant energy.
It's contagious, isn't it?
It is. It really is. Now let's shift our focus to the historical and cultural side of Rio.
All right.
Rio's history is as fascinating as its landscape.
Oh, absolutely.
A blend of indigenous roots, colonial influence, and that indelible mark of African heritage.
It all comes together to create that unique character.
Let's start with the indigenous people who first called this land home.
Right.
Who were they, and what traces of them can we still find in Rio today?
Well, before the Europeans, Rio was inhabited by indigenous tribes.
Okay.
Primarily the Tupi people.
The Tupi.
Sadly, much of their culture was lost or suppressed during colonization.
Right, of course.
But you can still find traces of their influence in place names, certain foods, even some cultural practices woven into modern Rio.
Interesting. So Rio's story began long before the arrival of European explorers.
Oh, absolutely.
And speaking of European explorers, the Portuguese arrived in the 16th century, right?
Yeah.
And established a colonial presence that really shaped the city.
For sure.
What was the impact of colonization on Rio's development?
Well, the Portuguese brought significant changes.
Okay.
European architecture, religion, and social structures. Rio became a major port city.
Right, for trade.
Facilitating the trade of goods.
Yeah.
But also, tragically, the transatlantic slave trade.
Right, that's a dark chapter in Rio's history.
It is.
And it's essential to acknowledge the impact of slavery on Rio.
Absolutely.
On its development, its cultural makeup.
It shaped the city in so many ways.
The forced migration of Africans brought their traditions, music, beliefs.
Right.
And it blended with indigenous and European influences to create something new.
Exactly. And the African influence is deeply woven into the soul of Rio. Yeah. You can see it everywhere. In the rhythms of samba, the vibrant colors of Carnival, the flavors of the cuisine, even in religious practices like candomblé.
I've heard that.
Which blends West African traditions with Catholicism.
It's amazing how resilient and creative those people were.
It is.
Despite the horrors of slavery, they preserved their heritage.
They did.
And enriched Brazilian culture as a whole.
Absolutely. And that fusion is what makes Rio so unique.
Right. It's not just a melting pot.
No.
It's where cultures have intertwined and evolved.
Creating something new and captivating.
So fascinating to see those threads woven into present-day Rio.
It is.
We talked about samba earlier.
Yeah, practically synonymous with Rio.
Can we dive a little deeper into its origins and significance?
Sure. Samba originated in the Afro-Brazilian communities of Rio. It's blending musical traditions from Africa with European influences.
Interesting.
It evolved over time, becoming a symbol of resistance.
Resistance.
Yeah, of identity and ultimately national pride.
So it's more than just music.
It is.
It's expression, storytelling, a celebration of life.
All of that.
And that energy, that rhythm, you feel it in the streets of Rio.
Oh, absolutely.
You hear it everywhere.
Samba schools practicing for Carnival.
Yeah.
Street musicians in Lapa, it's in their DNA.
We touched on Carnival briefly. Can you tell us more about its historical roots?
Sure.
How did it evolve into this global spectacle?
Well, Carnival has its roots in ancient pagan celebrations.
Interesting.
But in Brazil, it took on this Afro-Brazilian flavor.
Okay.
The samba schools emerged in the early 20th century.
Really?
Adding a competitive element and elevating Carnival to new heights.
I bet the competition between those schools is fierce.
Oh, it is.
Each group pouring their heart and soul into those performances.
It's a year-round effort.
Wow.
Involving thousands of participants from all walks of life.
It must be amazing to see.
The dedication, passion, artistry, it's remarkable.
And then there's the visual spectacle.
Oh, yeah.
The colors, the rhythms. It draws people in from all over the world.
It does. It's a celebration that transcends language and cultural barriers.
It's a shared experience.
It is.
Of joy, music, cultural expression.
Uniting people in a way few other events can.
We've talked about the indigenous, European, African influences.
Right.
But Rio also has a strong Asian presence, particularly Japanese.
That's right.
How did that happen? What impact has it had on Rio?
The first Japanese immigrants arrived in the early 20th century, seeking new opportunities.
Makes sense.
Their community grew over time. And today, you can see their influence in the cuisine.
Really?
Particularly sushi, it's become incredibly popular.
That's so interesting.
It is another reminder that Rio embraces diversity.
Welcoming influences from around the world.
Exactly, and that open, inclusive spirit is part of what makes Rio so vibrant.
A city that's constantly evolving, embracing the new while honoring its past.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered history and cultural influences.
Yeah.
But what about the Cariocas themselves? What defines their character, their way of life?
Cariocas are known for their warmth, their love of life.
Their infectious energy.
Right, we've talked about that.
They embrace the beauty around them.
The beaches, the mountains.
And they have this zest for celebration.
That's evident in everything.
From their music to their festivals.
It's like they have this ability to find joy in everyday moments.
They do.
Sipping coffee, playing football, dancing the night away.
Exactly, it's a way of life.
Embracing spontaneity, connection.
Right.
A deep appreciation for the simple pleasures.
It's inspiring.
It is. It makes you wonder what we can learn from that.
From the Carioca spirit.
Yeah, from their way of approaching life.
Maybe it's a reminder to find joy in the present moment. To embrace beauty, to connect with others.
That's beautiful.
It is.
Okay, I think it's time to move on to the final part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
We'll explore some hidden gems and wrap up our thoughts on Rio.
All right.
But first, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've learned.
We've journeyed through time.
Exploring Rio's identity, its vibrant spirit.
And we've uncovered some of its secrets. It's been an enlightening journey.
It has.
And I can't wait to continue exploring in the final part.
Me neither.
But for now, let's pause and absorb all we've learned and prepare for the grand finale of our Rio adventure. Welcome back to the final part of our Rio deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from iconic landmarks to the vibrant culture and fascinating history. Now, I'm really curious about those hidden gems, those places or experiences you might not find in a typical guidebook. What can you share?
Well, that's where the real magic of Rio lies, those off-the-beaten-path discoveries.
Right.
One spot that comes to mind is Parque Lage.
Okay, Parque Lage, where's that?
It's a park.
Okay.
Nestled at the foot of Corcovado Mountain.
So right in the shadow of Christ the Redeemer.
Yeah, pretty spectacular setting.
What makes Parque Lage so special?
It's a former coffee plantation transformed into a cultural hub.
Oh, wow.
You've got walking trails, gardens, even a mansion that houses an art school.
Really?
Yeah, it's this perfect blend of nature, art, and history.
I can imagine spending an afternoon there exploring the trails, maybe stumbling upon an art exhibition, soaking up the atmosphere.
It's a really unique spot.
What about something a bit more adventurous?
Okay.
Our sources mention favelas, the hillside communities.
Right, an integral part of Rio's landscape.
Yeah, but it's a complex topic, isn't it?
It is. You have to approach it with sensitivity and respect.
Of course.
Some favelas offer guided tours, led by residents, which provide a unique perspective.
Interesting.
On the challenges and triumphs of these communities.
That sounds like a powerful way to connect with the real Rio.
It is.
Beyond the tourist facade.
Right.
And it's important to acknowledge that Rio has its complexities, like any city.
Absolutely.
Are there any other insights that challenge our perceptions?
One thing that stood out to me was the contrast between the affluence of some areas and the poverty in others.
Right. It's a city of extremes.
It is. Wealth and poverty often coexist side by side.
A reality we can't shy away from.
Yeah.
It adds another layer to understanding Rio.
Yeah, Rio is a city that constantly challenges and surprises.
A place where you experience beauty and stark realities.
That's the essence of Rio, holding those contradictions and still captivating the soul.
It's a city that stays with you.
It does, long after you've left.
Prompting reflection.
And a desire to learn more.
Speaking of learning more, what about Rio's culture or history would you personally like to explore further?
For me, it's the music.
The music.
I'd love to dive deeper into the different genres beyond samba.
Okay.
Trace their evolution through Rio's history.
Right.
Music is the heartbeat of this city.
I agree.
Understanding its nuances unlocks even more of Rio's soul.
I think that's a perfect note to wrap up our deep dive.
Yeah.
Rio is a city that invites you to dive deeper.
To explore beyond the surface.
Connect with its energy on a personal level. It's a place that challenges, inspires.
And ultimately leaves a lasting impression.
It does.
Whether you're drawn to the landmarks, the culture, the hidden gems, or the spirit of its people,
the karaokas.
Rio de Janeiro is a destination that will stay with you.
Long after you've said Adeus.
Exactly.
Well, until next time.
Yeah.
Keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep diving deep.
We'll see you then.